Welcome back to Nerds and Noise. My name is SC. We have Kevin over here. And we're here to talk about Bill Maher and his comments concerning Stan Lee.
I was living in sweet ignorance until 10 minutes ago.
It was very sweet. Which is, people will find something else to be angry about tomorrow. And I don't want to use this time to just... There's enough people angry at Bill Maher out there, so I'm not going to be like, well, this guy doesn't understand about comic books and what they did for me growing up.
I think it's more of a ponderance on just how people can just be ignorant or just kind of just not get certain things.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this from the very beginning is, we have the original comment up here where he says a few things, and we're just going to kind of break it down. But it says a lot about social media culture. It's funny, I compare him to Kanye in some ways, in the way that when you're kind of like a shock jock person, when you're kind of like a person whose existence is sort of built around being controversial, and some of the things that he said, some of the things that he's done. Like, he made the movie, Religulous, that kind of sort of like, and then I didn't see it. Did you see Religulous?
He interviews a bunch of different people from different religions and looks at how ridiculous a lot of it is.
But one of the things because imagine Bill's more of like, look how stupid this is, instead of just like, well, see, both sides of the coin, and there can be a debate of whether Jesus Christ historically existed, but I think, like, from what I've heard, like, right out the gate, Bill's all like, nope.
Yeah, it's funny, the whole meme of the whole change my mind meme. If you watch the video with that or the guy who does that, it's a guy in a chair behind like a desk, and people have taken the original photo and they'll just replace it with pineapple doesn't go on pizza, change my mind, or Pikachu isn't the best Pokemon, change my mind. And one of the videos that I watched, it was him basically trying to
the change my mind fella.
The change my mind guy was trying to convince the audience that there are only two genders, and so he parked himself at like a college and said there's only two genders. Change my mind, and it was so.
It just seems like you're coming from a closed-minded standpoint.
He very much did. It's funny because the most social justice person who came up to talk to him, who came up with, she was very level-headed and very objective, and came up with like facts and about people and went through like history and like science, and he came there immediately. There was never a chance of him changing his mind. This video wasn't about him changing his mind. He made that video to make people who championed there being a bigger spectrum of gender. He came there to make them look stupid on camera in front of others. Like, it was the entire thing was just this big sham. So it's so disingenuous, and a lot of that is how I look at Bill Maher, who I don't hate. I mean, he as an entertainment personality, and he's a libertarian. It's good that there is representation for these people out there.
And I think he genuinely believes himself that that he's enlightening us for what we're being stupid for.
He seems like he's God's gift to dumb people. He's very smug, and
yes.
His smug levels are off the charts. He is just so in love with himself, and it's that loftiness where he comes off as better. Like, even the last time he was in controversy because, he was making a joke.
Tonight, the aftershocks of the racial slur said on live TV, in the middle of a seemingly harmless exchange between Bill Maher and Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse.
I've got to get to Nebraska more.
You're welcome. We'd love to have you work in the fields with us.
Work in the field?
That's part of that. That's
Senator. I'm a house. No, it's a joke.
Kind of thing. Yeah. And even then, I was like, I know what he was getting at, so I was like, should you have said that? No. Did I know where you were going? Yeah. You know what? I'm not even going to join this whole the fight. Like, Ice Cube got on there and was like, you shouldn't say that because other white people are going to see you saying that, and they're going to believe that they can say it. So whether or not you yourself are racist, you kind of taking these liberties.
You might have a black girlfriend or two that made them some Kool-Aid every now and then, and they think they can cross the line, and they can't.
It's like we've had friends and stuff where I'll like, there's the jokes you can say with your friends behind closed doors, and they'll understand. But that's one of my favorite stupid excuses. Is like, I have a friend that says it's okay. I'm like, I'm sure that's just fine.
Yeah.
You have a Jewish friend that says he finds those slurs hilarious. I'm not sure the whole Hasidic community believes that.
Nah, that's just the thing. It's it's funny because the Stan Lee's company responded with great power comes great responsibility. When you have that platform, what you say matters. When you're Kanye, when you're someone who has this level of power, what you say and how you say it is going to influence a lot of people. And sometimes, and I don't hate Kanye. I don't hate Bill Maher, but
Kanye confuses me.
He's there might be a little more going on. I think he definitely has more mental instability than Bill Maher. But it's funny because after he said the original remarks about, I guess. Stan Lee inspired people to, watch a movie, I guess. That in itself is just a really disrespectful...
And he's saying it just proves that all these people in this comic book culture, this whole outrage just proves my point of how stupid it is.
Yeah, after he admits to not reading comic books and not knowing much of it. And then, can we talk about the fact that Bill Maher was in Iron Man 2 or 3? He recorded a segment because they have the TV personalities showing up in the background in Marvel films. Bill Maher is in a Marvel film, so he took the Marvel money.
Yeah, no, for a while, comic books has given us the big, dumb entertainment, and it's kind of a double-edged sword, especially when we've made a culture where it can be hard to break in it without being a superhero, and just the over-masculinity and sexualization that we're dealing with that right now, but it's one of those things like, it's what we got.
Yeah.
If we can sneak in awesome stories and good messages in there, hey?
It's people who relate all anime to Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon when it's
more expansive than our animated outlets.
Yeah, it is a storytelling tool, and whether you want to break it down to Alan Moore books that explore these social.
They make cartoons for GIs. Like back in the 40s. Like the cartoons were appreciated by people of all ages back then, and then everything kind of got the double-edged sword of Disney, and we just started seeing it as like kid stuff and all that.
That's just the thing. It'd be as if you were to simplify Dr. Seuss as just children's books, that have nothing, that aren't to be taken seriously. Not that the fact that he's putting in these intense, the Lorax alone, these intense messages about what we're doing to the world, things that can help us grow.
Every graduate that's gotten a copy of the Places You'll Go.
Yes, it's just so dismissive. I'm just surprised that he said it, and then that he doubled down on it on Larry King to be like, it doesn't matter. It's just comic books. It's just kid stuff. That comic books are kid stuff. And then when we get to a certain age,
he has a role in the movie. It's got Jerry O'Connell, but it's a dumb, fun movie. But you're all like, you've been in movies that aren't like the cinematic masterpiece. I know you can just say like, oh, just paycheck. It's like, but you were in there. That's kind of representative of your work.
The fact that what Black Panther did, it's still the same year, what Black Panther did this year alone in representation and how it was a cultural phenomenon, Stan Lee helped bring us that by representing us, as kings. What X-Men did for, in terms of diversity and
the movie reached like so many people. It wasn't just a black superhero movie. It was a good superhero movie with strong black characters.
Yeah, Black Panther is still the #1 superhero movie of all time in America. That can't be written off as going to see a movie. I guess like that's a paradigm shift. Stan Lee changed the world. Bill Maher has not. It's Stan Lee is timeless. What he's done will affect the world for years to come, and Bill Maher will have been remembered as a moment in time. 5 minutes from now, 5 years from now, it just doesn't come off as slightly jealous. I don't know what it is. He comments on America being in mourning because of this man, and I was talking about Stan Lee, and a person who I've never met, I'm never going to have a chance to, but we talked about how he wrote our modern mythology, and just the number of people whose lives have been altered, hopefully for the better, just can't simply be dismissed because it's in the form of a comic book. is it ignorant? Yes. Do I think people should be writing Bill Maher hate mail? No.
I thought you're almost just fueling his fire.
Yeah,
just ignore him.
and like most like any kind of trolls, and it's definitely thing what he's doing right now is just kind of trolling. You know, he's an old man who. I'm not gonna say that he has no worth, because a lot of things that he touches and tackles, some of those things can in fact be important and should be brought to light. You know, he's touched on certain hypocrisies before. You know, it's
He makes good points, but then he'll pull stuff like, I've started to hate the phrases snowflake, because it just seems like you're so.
it's an insult to dismiss.
Yeah, you're so angry about uniqueness, and also it's an insult against black people who are portrayed as being white. So it's one of those things. It's like that's not intended, but that can be there as well.
Yeah, it's just meant to dismiss someone. The same way, you know, the Bill Maher is, you know, to watch a movie, I guess, is just
It's missing the point that it can be a valuable. Just because they're running around, they're running around in colored spandex,
Yes,
and oftentimes they're drawn to body extremes that would make anybody just kind of unnerved. But there was an animated short that the only characters are a dot, a line, and a squiggle, and it's one of the most profound things about accepting yourself, just relationships, and being able to do what you couldn't think of before. And the characters were a dot, a line, and a squiggle.
And I'm not gonna act like I haven't seen some ridiculous comics. I lived through the '90s. I've seen.
No. There's definitely the stuff that he's portraying it as. They exist, and I have unironically enjoyed it for that, but I also know what it is and what we can do with the medium.
Yeah, what it can be. There's terrible comic book movies out there, and there's terrible comics and terrible comic cartoons. But there is some just true art that has given hundreds of thousands of people jobs. It's put food in stomachs. It's inspired some people to do. It's gotten people out of their shells. A lot of people who
It's helped them through tough times. just
socially,
having-
just what
Yeah.
happens at conventions alone. People who normally don't get out, people who aren't totally comfortable with themselves, to be able to come out, and whether or not they're, 120 or 200 pounds, and they're wearing this Thor armor, and they feel like they are Thor, it gives them a sense of power. Something that changes someone like that. Something that makes people sometimes realize their best selves and meet others.
I met my wife playing Dungeons and Dragons. That's almost like the setup for a joke.
Whatever you enjoy, that's fantastic. You know, there's that meme that shows the person going, yeah, 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 and then the other person's like, shh, let people enjoy things. And it's just so true.
Now, is he... we just looked at the article, too. Is he writing off superhero books or just comic books as a total?
Yeah, it's very much in the end seems like it's just comic books. Like comic books are silly things for kids. He talks about adulting, and where there's a part of me that doesn't like the term adulting, just because it seems like some people are like I adulted today. And I'm like, okay, like it's.
Yeah, comics were for kids. It's like, I mean, mostly in his mind, I imagine he's imagining superheroes, but it's illustrations and
Text. You're basically putting art on a page. It just happened to be the superheroes in the most prevalent and lucrative way. So you're writing off a whole just medium of storytelling.
Yeah, and it encompasses it encompasses so much of the world, and so many people are in this medium working and creating. If like the way that he talks about it, if it just didn't exist and we just stopped doing it because it's not good for adults to do, all of those people, like what would you have them do? Like he's in entertainment. It's
and it's not just the drawn picture and written words that cover so much things like comic strips, political cartoons. I mean, political cartoons and him do the same thing. They satirize popular events.
The same way that, Black Panther fought the Klan. Like a lot of our current events are reflected in comic media. like obviously, Professor X and Magneto were an allegory for Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X.
And sometimes it may have been just coincidence, or maybe they did it retroactively, or they used that as a deal. But sometimes they can point out these social, these social things inside of a comic book.
Yes, which is the most. I feel like the most important ones, the ones that move me the most, are ones that, like, you can say cartoons are for kids, but the ways Utopia tackled diversity and racism, and some of the inside of all of us. I thought Utopia was a beautiful way to for kids and adults. Like, these movies are saying things. Like, even Wreck-It Ralph 2 recently said amazing things about relationships and friendships. And it's like, these things can be they can be the Emoji Movie. Where it's just a cash-in, something aimed at the lowest common denominator, poop jokes and all that stuff, or it can be something more, where these artists can, change the world through this medium that, yes, can be for children, and kids are the future, so that's important.
And what is the problem with just enjoying something for enjoyment's sake?
Yes, if you are an adult and you read a comic book and it gives you enjoyment.
Now there are other problems of like I said, over-sexualization, ultraviolence, whatever, all the stuff that we get paranoid about with like the the stereotype of the moms against violence, but sometimes I just want to see Iron Man blow stuff up.
Very much so. You make an actually incredible point that even if they didn't do all this stuff, that shouldn't matter. Like, we're coming up with all these reasons to justify why comics should exist when they do not require justification. It is, it can also just be entertainment, and that's also fine.
What's up with this Gene Kelly fella dancing and singing all the time? It's ridiculous.
I know. Why are you making me happy after I've worked 10 hours today? Like, seriously, these things that make us smile and make us feel like we can do something. Like, not everybody's able to get out and see the world and be all these different things, and you're able to go somewhere else through someone else's words and pictures and their imagination, and you link, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, at the end of the day, what I would want us to do as a people is not just to be triggered. And if Bill Maher was even here, I would want to talk. I want to sit down and talk to him. There's plenty of people plenty of people that I know that I disagree with. That I have issues with some of the things that they say, and more so than just wanting to light them on fire in front of everybody else, I would like to open a dialogue and find out why they feel that way. They might not necessarily change their point of view, but
you may plant a seed.
Yeah.
A seed of, if it doesn't change their mind, at least gives them tolerance, or at least gives them a new venue of like looking at things.
Yeah, when you come to a change my mind kind of a person, chances are their mind doesn't actually want to be changed. They just want you to expel your energies and to look foolish for disagreeing. When it's something that person just doesn't like. There are people out there who hate that there are popular things and that they can't enjoy them. Like, I was, the other day, somebody on Facebook in a Facebook group was like, what's the most overrated movie? And a lot of people were like, Frozen. And I was like, Frozen, easily. Someone was like, what's up with all the Frozen hate in here, man? And I was like, I don't have to hate Frozen to think it's overrated. And I was also, and by the way, just because I might have critical thoughts about Frozen, I was like, which I do. It's also okay if you enjoy Frozen. I was like, because that's kind of a beautiful thing. Like, even the things that I don't love, like, I didn't watch Power Rangers growing up. Like, I never really got it myself. But I had a lot of friends who did watch Power Rangers, and that's completely, that was the world for them. And then some of them are still into Power Rangers. And whatever that is, it's like, yeah, might I clown it? Most definitely. But not you for enjoying it. Like, I'm not calling out the people who like those things.
You respect it, even if it's not something you like. There's movies that I genuinely think they're terrible on a critical sense, and it's something I can't enjoy. Well, I can find any way to enjoy those, ironically, but I don't go out of my way to watch it. I'm all like, don't ever let everyone take that away from you from enjoying that yourself.
Yeah, let me see the real winner. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. Like, I haven't read the books. The movies are fine. I've watched them one apiece, and then I kind of move on. And just because I'm not a huge Potter fan does not mean that the millions of people over the world who get dressed up and who know their house names and who are so in love with this world, what J.K. Rowling did is amazing. That is beautiful. She changed the world with her imagination and the people who she's linked together, what she's done. It's okay if I don't love it. You know, the people who do, that has only made them sometimes better. And with any fandom, you know, sometimes people can take it to an extreme.
It's one of those things people either have to put in the exception rule, or honestly, we should just realize there's exceptions.
There's exceptions, yeah. No, I would say that honestly, the world, relationships, people, connections are better for what Rowling has done, are better for what Stan Lee has done. The end result is something positive. There's nothing like someone in a room saying Harry Potter and everyone is starting to geek out. I mean, I'm usually left out of that. I'm like, oh, I took my test. I think I'm a Gryffindor.
And even a weird tangent. Sometimes it can be you find out that a creator or something is a terrible person, but sometimes when it grows past the creator.
It goes beyond that.
Yeah, like Charles Dickens apparently was like, he's kind of a dick.
Thankfully, what he's made and what he's done,
past
for literature has become bigger than the person himself. Thankfully, from what we know of Stan Lee, he was it was divisive in a lot of ways, but at his heart was definitely not an evil man, and he believed in togetherness. Like all the messages that he was always saying, and that was in everything. He's like, we have no time for, out of his own mouth, we have no time for bigotry, we have no time for hate, we have time for love and togetherness and diversity. That is what he created, that's what he championed, and to dismiss that as just nothing shows. I mean, and Bill Maher said it himself. He doesn't know about comics or any of that stuff. He doesn't actually know anything, but he's got strong opinions on what he himself says he knows nothing about. So that is all, It's something, I think, dumb that he said to be controversial that kind of came back to bite him, and he's not going to roll over now because I think he doesn't like rolling over or acknowledging. It doesn't mean he has no worth. I'm not going to watch him. I'm good on never watching Bill Maher. I was never a fan. But I would just hope that even some of his fans who do support him just would be a little more open-minded, I think, than he is on subjects like this. And I don't know, the best thing that can happen when you're not so dismissive, when you start to think maybe there is an opinion that matters outside of my own, and that there are views of others that have some importance. The same way that Batman and Lego Batman had to acknowledge that someone other than him had a good idea. Bill Maher, we want you to know it's okay that you have an opinion that we disagree with, though we hope in the future, whether it's...
We're not angry. We're just disappointed.
Yes. But we know that we will all make it past Bill Maher's comments on Stan Lee, as if anybody who's reading these comics truly cares what Bill Maher has to say about Stan Lee. Just a bit triggered because anybody on the earth dared, in the sea of great things about Stan Lee, one man is like, yeah, it's whatever.
Well, I think we mostly just took this moment as as a time to examine.
Yeah, it's good to
how this can happen.
Look through these things, but also at the end of the day, guys, don't explode. Don't send Bill Maher hate mail or email bombs.
I mean, he's right to his opinion. Weird not as it may be, as long as it's not directly hurting anybody.
Yes, the rest of the love for Stan Lee will outweigh the speck of Bill Maher's disapproval for people who read comic books. All right, thanks guys. We'll catch you next time.